Good evening, and welcome to the 2016 State of the Church Address. The first thing I want to do is very quickly kind of go through some of our ministries and successes, and even maybe some of our shortfalls of 2015. There aren't very many shortfalls. We had a great year. I hope that you believe that we had a great year as a church in 2016. One of the things that we would celebrate, and when I said 2016 just a second ago, I meant 2015. Just trying to keep you focused. Some of the things that we should really celebrate are the completion of many other projects that finished up. So, our fellowship hall looks beautiful. Our kitchen looks beautiful. Our library renovations are complete. So we give thanks to people who led in certain areas. We are thankful for Joyce Randall and Betty Sherwood, who helped with the kitchen renovation, kind of chairing, and there are more folks than that. We are thankful for Nora Kentner, who helped lead a group of folks with the library renovations, and we're thankful to Karen Chatterton, who oversaw. She took care of making sure that the fellowship hall renovations were complete, and all of you have done great work. So my hope is that if you are part of that working, if you were part of one of those committees, if you were one of the leaders I just named, please stand and be recognized. So if anybody who helped fellowship hall, kitchen, library, stand up and be recognized. And there are more folks than these within the church. Thanks to Dave Kentner for helping to oversee the stairs being completed and finished and carpeted, and now we look complete all the way through this area of the church. And so we are also thankful that we dedicated some space of stairs, dedicated some things, not some space. We dedicated a monitor, we dedicated a table, we dedicated communion ware, we dedicated stained glass, we dedicated a baby, all on the same day. Well, we dedicated the parents, and we blessed the baby. So, again, Dave Kentner for the stained glass, and he's not alone with that. Karen Chatterton and Bob Chatterton helped with that to some degree as well. So Mary Stepanowicz for the table in memory of her loving husband. Yeah, you can clap, it's all right. To an anonymous donor who gave for the monitor so that the choir can see whatever is on the screen. You can clap for someone who's anonymous. And to Dean Rockwell for using his gifts and abilities to create such beautiful communion ware. To both Rockwells for having children so that we could celebrate the life of a grandbaby. And the good news is that we are going to be receiving more children. So, Tiffany, Heather, Rebecca, Pete, thanks to you guys for bringing children to be a part of our church. And we actually mean that with such heartfelt thanks, and we're grateful that you find this to be a place that you can have for your church home, and we're grateful for the opportunity to help raise your children in faith. So thank you for finding us and bringing your families to be a part of us. Our evangelism committee hosted a small group, a group of 10. We were able to start with a study that had been written by a minister who once lived in Kentucky, now lives in Des Moines, Iowa, and the regional minister of Kentucky. And that was known as, it was a pilot program known as the E word, not your grandparents' understanding of evangelism. You're going to hear a little more about that as we go forward. But it was a good opportunity for 10 people to get together for about 8 or 9 weeks and to talk about what does it mean for the church to grow, even if that isn't numerical growth. What does it mean to put your church out there in the community, even if it doesn't mean you get one new member from it. The idea of the pilot is that you live your faith because you live your faith. You live your faith because you are faithful. You are called. And so that was part of what the project began. Again, you're going to hear a little more about that. We were able to create a new meeting time for a second men's group. So now we have 2 men's groups. Our third Thursday men's group met on Thursday night this last week. We had 14 people. It's been a very interesting and exciting opportunity for men to get together. And so I'm grateful for both men's groups that we have. They're very different, and they're intended to be different. They're at different times, and it attracts different people at different times. That's the point. We need as many opportunities to attract people to be together in church as we can have. And so the third Thursday men's group, I think, has been really good and has been a lot of fun, and it is one of the new ministries of our church in 2015. Our Cairo group, headed by Tad Goldner, our new minister to children and families, they have been meeting on the first and third Sundays with Wesley United Methodist Church, and then on the second and fourth Sundays as our own group. So they meet every week, and we have a couple of those guys who meet with that group with us tonight. Thank you guys for being here, because tonight is not all about just the adults. Your voice is important tonight, and when we do some group work here, I want you guys to be participating. We calculated a little over 2,000 hours of volunteer time throughout the life of the church in 2015. That could be a little low, but it could also be affected by the fact that we didn't have as many renovation projects where we needed to be a little more hands-on. We didn't have to pull carpet, which we didn't really do all that much of. We had a little help. We didn't have to screw down floors. We didn't have to move things because they were already moved. So we had a little over 2,000 hours of people getting together to do work for the church. This does not include like committee meetings or socials or anything like that. This is just volunteering for and in and around the church. I told you I was going to go fast, didn't I? Any questions so far? Membership finalized a new member process to gain information from new members and to get pictures for the newsletter. So we were able to get something we've been trying to do for a while. They still need to finalize a new member welcome packet. We're working on that. But membership also instituted something called an inquirer's class. And the inquirer's class was for new members or people who are interested in becoming members. And it was an opportunity to discuss Christian church disciples of Christ, history, and polity and governance, as well as First Christian Church of Macomb, history, and polity and governance. And then provide the opportunity for people to know that they were allowed, or not allowed, that's a bad word, that we wanted them to join the church. Part of the interesting time of that wasn't necessarily the time that I was teaching, but we had people who hosted each night. And some of those hosts, well, each of those hosts would then share their story, how long they'd been a part of the church, what brought them to First Christian Church, and just share why they love the church. If there are any people who served as hosts for the Inquirer's class, please stand up and be recognized. There were also members of the membership committee who provided refreshments for that, and some of those just stood up too, but raise your hand if you did that, membership folks. They're all at this table, and we appreciated that great dessert. We had our last VBS. I'm letting that sink in for a little bit. We had our last VBS. Jack McKinnon and a whole host of others, including Tad and Janelle and a few others, helped organize that from our part. But in 2016, we're going to look at something new. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we had a good week of Vacation Bible School. Not a lot of attenders, but a great week. Good curriculum, good people, and it doesn't mean that Vacation Bible School will never come back. It just means we're looking for something different this summer. But we celebrate a great week of Vacation Bible School. I celebrate that we had an adult class that averaged 10 people a night in the adult class. That was fun. I really enjoyed that night. There were no people from the Presbyterian Church as a part of that class. In the 3 years that we've done Vacation Bible School that I've been here, there's only been one person from the Presbyterian Church come and be part of the class on the adult side. Another reason maybe it's time to look for something new. We had our third fall festival. Jill Jones and a host of volunteers, probably almost everybody in this room, helped out in some way or attended. And so I love now, one of our biggest Sundays still is the Sunday after Fall Festival. But we come to church now and we're used to it. You know, the first year we came, we had 141 people in church the day after the very first Fall Festival. We had 138, this year we had 128, I believe. Those are still very large attended Sundays for us. But we're used to it. I wish we could go back and find that excitement and that thrill of having it the first time. I think we still had a great time. I still think we got a lot of energy from it. I still think we have a mission for it. I'm not saying it's something we should not have. Please understand. But the energy that we get from it, I hope we can always be excited. There are people still talking about this year's Fall Festival, by the way. And on Friday night, that was the largest moment we've ever had during the 3 years. And at 5 o'clock, there were children lining around the church in the alley, across the street, on the front lawn, waiting for us to get started. Isn't that amazing? And isn't that wonderful? Something definitely to be celebrated. This year we had also, Jan, correct me if I'm wrong, but our third Christmas party? This year we celebrated our third Christmas party for those who are part of the Special Olympics in town, teenagers on up to adults. What a great time. More people than even in here tonight attended. Either they attended because they were volunteering, and we had about 15 volunteers from Western Illinois University, great kids who just wanted to come and be a part of it with us. They worked with these folks at the dietitian center, teaching them how to cook and interact, and they were like, these are such fun people, we just want to come and be a part. So they came. I think 3 or 4 people came because they were needing extra credit. Everybody else came because they wanted to. It was so much fun. We sang, we played, we laughed, and it was loud. It was loud, but we had a great time. I would share that for the first time since I've been here, with our giving, we ended the year about $4,200 behind expenses. That's not so much something we like to celebrate, but it is the reality of where we find ourselves starting off in 2016. $4,200 behind expenses. So we're trying to catch up. You know that we made a plea in 2015 for people to think about transferring money that they had been giving to the capital campaign to the general fund, to the stewardship campaign. And some people did that. And not everybody is done with their capital campaign pledge. We understand that. But as we near the end of that campaign this September, October, and as we move into a stewardship campaign, we may have to make that plea even a little stronger in 2016. We will probably, the trustees are discussing different things to do, but we will probably give giving statements a little differently than we've done in the past, maybe on a quarterly basis, and I think that's been done before. We'll probably put in a newsletter on a monthly basis where we stand with our finances. And the celebration, yes, the general fund, the capital campaign fund, ended up with $34,500 in it toward a $50,000 loan payment that we have to make. Well, that's something to be celebrated. That is something to be celebrated. And if we went back over the last 3 years, to be honest with you, and we looked at the giving patterns of the church, we have given to the church well. Just this year, we find ourselves a little short. Part of that is that we hired 2 nursery workers and have that fully staffed. We have a new employee. And so we have a little more staff to try to help us meet our goals. We need about $16,000 a month to come in for us to meet our bills every month. I'm just saying it so you hear it. It's part of the state of the church. But we celebrate the fact that we have been receiving well to the capital campaign. I'm not asking people to not continue to give their pledge to that. We want that. We want people to complete their pledge to the capital campaign. We just look forward to a year where maybe we can celebrate at the end that we have been able to catch up. That's all I hope for, is that we catch up by the end of the year. And I think you hope for that too, right? I mean, you want that too. So, one of the things I thought needed to be shared tonight. As we know, we celebrated last week Netta Holt's retirement. And so we are in the process. Well, no longer are we in the process. We have some good news to share with you that you will see later this week in email and in newsletter. So, as we go through this week, keep our church office in prayer. Annetta, hopefully, we think, we're pretty sure, will be training her replacement this week. And we're excited about the person that we've asked to take the job. And I think that you will be excited about that. Personnel Committee's been working on this since mid-December. Started with Patty and then turned over to Jack. And part of the room with us tonight would be Marcia and Josh. Shannon Reed and Larry Loop were also a part of that process. So to those folks who have worked very hard to help us over the course of this last year, 4 new staff people. Some replacing some staff, new staff, 4 new people to the staff. I was really glad that you guys could meet Hannah and Morgan tonight, because they've been with us for about 6 or 7 months and they've been doing a great job. Last Sunday, I walked in at 8:31. They were in the nursery, on the floor, cleaning all the toys. No one asked them to do that. But they're really good at what they do. And so I celebrate that we have good folks all across the board. We've had great folks all across the board. And so we enter into this year as a full staff. I am sad to see Annetta go, but I'm happy that we have found someone that we think who can step in and do some good work for us as well. So I know she's going to enjoy grandbabies and traveling and retirement. How old am I? How long do I have to wait? So that is 2015, a great year. 2016, well, we're already 24 days into that. So last Monday, we had our second MLK service day. We had 23 people that participated at 2 different sites, painting projects, a big pizza lunch. We just had a great time. If you were a part of that project, raise your hands. More of us can be parts of those types of projects, but I celebrate those who came. What a fun time we had, laughing and joking and painting each other. Some people intentionally, some people not intentionally. Jack was underneath me, and I was painting, and he didn't know it, and I didn't tell him. You might be a little grayer right here, Jack. We have a mission trip coming up spring break weekend. I want 20. I'm just going to tell you that. Last year we took 9 people to Indianapolis. We've taken around 10 or so before, maybe 10 or 12 to Washington, Illinois a couple years ago. I want 20. We're going south. It'll be warmer. Florida, no. Lake of the Ozarks, yes. We're going to go to Lake of the Ozarks and work at a camp that's a lot like a church camp. It's a camp for special needs adults. It's called Camp Wonderland. It's where Emma Bozarth worked last summer, and where Gina Montgomery went and attended camp. And you can look at it online. There's a lot of really good information online about the camp. We're excited to take people. We're excited to have a good time together. We'll be all in one location. There are beds for everyone. There's indoor plumbing for everyone. You laugh. I've been on mission trips where there's not indoor plumbing for everyone. We'll cook for ourselves. We'll have a celebration night. I promise you there will be great worship. And this is an intergenerational mission trip. So I'm expecting you guys. I'm expecting some of you guys as well. So hopefully you can get that trip on your calendar, and hopefully that will work within your calendar, and we look forward to that. I talked to you about our eWord. Evangelism is looking at creating more eWord groups. We're looking at having groups of 8 to 10 meet in different places, maybe in homes, maybe here at the church. We're working on that. But we're looking at having people go through that process. If not that process, we're looking to have groups of people meeting a little more often. Socializing. Trying to get together. Trying to get to know each other. Beyond a Sunday morning at the pew. In other churches, they would call these small groups. We will call them the E-word groups, or whatever, home groups. What's the word, Bob? Cottage groups. Same purpose. Whatever we do, we're just looking to try to get more people interacting with each other and building up our relationship with each other. I think when we build our relationship with each other, we build our relationship with God. So hopefully, we will have a few more groups like that. I would like to see a third Thursday group for women. I would like to see a third Thursday group for women. It can fit under our women's ministry, our disciple women. It can fit there. But it can function maybe a little differently. Maybe not have some of the same things and still participate under disciple women. Curriculum might be a little different, a few things like that. Disciple women, by the way, I didn't say this, I have it written down, but I forgot to say it. They had their first Junk in the Trunk last summer, and they have a second Junk in the Trunk coming up. So I'm excited about that in 2016 too. A couple of more serious things. Our Christian Ed is going to take a very serious look at VBS. We're thinking maybe 2 to 3 few hours as opposed to 5 nights in a row, many hours. What it looks like, we have some thoughts, but because we want to be in partnership with other churches, we have not finalized anything. It's never any fun to say, hey, I have this idea, actually, I've already planned it all the way out. Would you like to come and be a part of it? It's always more fun to be a part of the group as it's starting out. So we're going to have a planning session next Sunday at 3:30. If you are interested in helping us dream and scheme about a new way of working with children and families in the summer. We're excited about this venture. We're not excited that VBS hasn't been working well for us this last year or so. But we are excited about trying something new because we think we can do great things for people. We think that we can provide something that will offer the opportunity for more people to participate. So you are offered the opportunity to help us think that through. One of the other things that Christian Ed is going to do this year is they're going to begin to look at Sunday school for adults. Our whole Sunday school program, but especially for adults. We've had one class that has retired. We have 2 other classes that have been stronger in their history than they are right now. And so, what do we need to do? Not to point out some of the people in the room, but some of the people sitting over there, a few people here, Josh, some people over here. We need some Sunday school classes for people at a different age level. And so how can that be? What can that be? What will it look like? What do we need to start a new Sunday school class for all ages? Our youth Sunday school class could be maybe a little stronger. We have started a new special needs class, and that's great. So we're going to look at Sunday school. If you want to be a part of that, come to the Christian Ed meetings, because that's where we'll do that conversation. That's where we'll begin to have a deeper look at that. Christian Ed meets on the second Monday at 6 o'clock. We would love to have you come and be a part of that to just help us think through it. I think it's needed. Do you think it's needed?
Yeah.
Then we need people to help us think through it. If it's something that's going to be a priority for a committee, more than 2 or 3 people on a committee need to think through that. We need lots of folks. So, would love to have you come and help us do that. Josh Butcher is going to start a new event for us. Financial Peace University. You may have seen that at other churches in the past. Your mom just looked like she didn't know that was happening, Josh. I just saw this look like, wow, we shocked her. And so Josh is going to start that. It's going to be, we think, we're checking some calendars still, but Thursday nights through March and April and into May. And we're still working through just a few of the particulars of that, but that's an opportunity to invite people into the church to be a part of that class. To come and, how many people in our society are slaves to their credit cards, right? This is a way to reduce debt, eliminate debt, have a plan, learn to budget, that kind of thing. If you know some folks who might be interested in that, keep an eye out, a sign out front. We'll have it, newsletter and bulletin, we'll have that and information. And so, we will begin that in March, right? All right, excellent. 2016 is going to be a big year for us. One last thing that I need to mention about 2016, and then I'll ask and see if anybody else has anything that needs to be mentioned. We have a roof issue in our education wing. And so just realize that as we get past the winter and into the spring, we will have to do some roof replacement. Now, we don't know if it's full replacement or a partial replacement at this point. We will learn about that, and we will make sure that you are aware of that. But roof replacement is not inexpensive. So it'll be something that we'll be looking at, and the trustees will be looking at, and the property committee will be looking at. I don't think we're going to need to ask for more money. I'm just letting you know we're going to have to look at that. So just be aware that that is one major capital project coming up this year. I would like for property to also create like a 10-year plan for replacement of windows and to look at replacing floors in the Christian Ed wing, because we have some bad floors. So just know that we're talking about those things in in property as well. Those are the things that I see coming down the pike in 2016, besides what we're going to do next. Does anybody have anything to add or any questions?
When are you going to put the cover on the door, like we talked about? The door where the elevator is, you had talked about putting a cover over.
Bob, you want to answer that one?
That's coming soon. Maybe Kendra don't know it.
The cover we're going to get is already here.
That's been on hold for now.
Okay.
There are 2 projects that were part of our top 10 list. We had hoped to maybe do something with the playground area, and that would have been the most expensive project that we could undertake. And like I said, we raised a great deal of money, and we've done a great deal of work. But those are projects that we're going to have to let go at this point.
Okay.
So, but thanks for asking. There's just been a running joke between Dave Kentner and Bob Chatterton since the very first day we ever mentioned that, so. If you could have just sat in on a few meetings, you would understand. Anything else? Yes?
When are we going to fix the doorway between the sanctuary and the parlor? That step down. Every Sunday somebody falls.
I think that there's probably not a plan for that at the moment. So that would be something that we would table and put in property committee's hand to have some conversation about.
There is a plan to put a grab bar there, but I haven't found a brass one or antique brass one yet.
So there's the first step. Sorry. I didn't mean that. That first step is a doozy. So, yeah, I guess, so there is a plan to at least address that in that way, and we'll see if that helps. If that doesn't help, then we might have to look at something else. So, but yeah, talk with Dave and ask that question a little more maybe to get more information. I think what we're talking about is that, you know where we've got the set of double doors in the parlor on the east side? Just inside parlor side of that, you've got a doorway that leads down into the sanctuary. The door on the other side of those double doors, we flattened out and smoothed out so that you can get a wheelchair through there. But the other, it was impossible to flatten that out. The only way to really fix that is to not have that door open. That's the only way to fix that.
Just board it up.
It looks pretty to do that, yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's it. That's it. And it's an expensive project to plaster that in. So we'll just have to look at it. And aesthetically, I don't know if that works well or not. We haven't talked about it enough to have a plan.
But somebody really is going to hurt themselves one of these days badly. But they fall right into the pews sometimes.
And I'm glad you're asking the question and bringing it up. Like I say, I just don't think we've had enough conversation about it yet.
Okay.
Any other questions? Our denomination at the assembly in Columbus, our general minister and president presented to us a new idea, a new project, a new way of being church. This presentation is called, this project is called Mission First. Mission First. I think it's, the first is a double entendre, because there are lots of first Christian churches as part of our denomination. And I think the idea is, how do we prioritize ministry is the first thing that we do. To be honest with you, the E-Project, the E-Word Project, is about that as well. Prioritizing the important ministries of your church. If you will turn your papers over now.
I'll get one. Keep it.
Yeah, there aren't enough for everybody at your table, I'm sorry. If anybody needs an extra one at your table, we have one more here. Are you good sharing here? Do you need one more back there? I'm just going to leave this at your table for someone who might want their own. All right. So, this morning in our worship service, the Isaiah passage of Jesus' scripture said that the Messiah would bring good news to the poor, proclaim release of the captives, help the blind to see, free the oppressed, and to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. My question is, how do we, members of First Christian Church, how do we do those things? Just a moment. How do we do those things? How do we proclaim release to the captives? How do we bring good news to the poor? How do we, friends of First Christian Church, help the blind to see, to help the oppressed go free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor? What I want you to do in about a 2-minute time frame is to write down what you think the important ministries of our church are. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I want you to start to think about the important ministries of our church. How do we help? How do we serve? What is our mission? Go. All right. I think that's the easier part. Of the things I'm going to ask you to do, I think that's the easier part. Because, my friends, I think we do quite a bit. I think that we have people who volunteer and help in a lot of different ways. I think we do some really good and great ministry within the life of this community. My next question to you is right below. The question above was, how do we? The question below is, how could we? How could we bring good news to the poor, proclaim release to the captives, help the blind to see, feel, or help the oppressed go free, proclaim the year of the Lord's favor? In other words, what mission and service is still needed in our community that our church could host or provide? My goal is for each table to come up with one. Write it down. Something that each of you can agree on. Something, one thing that we can do. You have 5 minutes. Aaron's timing you. Go. Time's up. Time is up. Time is up. I need someone to raise their hand and promise to record for me.
Invite somebody outside the church to our.
I need one person to raise their hand and record for me. Record. All right, thanks, Patty. All right, what table would go first? What table would go first? All right, we'll start back there.
We talked about a Bible study class, either here at the church on Sunday mornings, or taking it out on a Sunday morning to someplace out in the public where we can invite people, but taking like one of the books out of the Bible and doing an in-depth study on it. But it would be, if it was at the church, it'd be for all age groups except for the kids.
Are you limiting that to Sunday morning only? Or
Well,
just, is
that would be where we'd like to start
Okay.
and see how it goes.
So Sunday morning Bible study, whether on-site or off-site. Okay?
We was thinking, because we got some loafers hanging around up the park. We got people here.
We got one that admitted he's a loafer.
Started.
You guys are funny. You said, we've got some loafers, and I was like, we've got some shoes?
And one other thing that we want to say, another thing, these cottage, if we would implement these cottage meetings or something like that, really stress the idea of getting each person, whoever would host the cottage meeting, to try to reach out to somebody. Jack's commenting, the second question, we need to be reaching beyond our congregation, which I'm sure we'd all agree, and I think that's good. But if we do have cottage meetings, and we're assuming whoever would host it would have some of the acquaintances that don't come to the church, and try to include them to the cottage meeting. So that would be another possibility.
Okay? So inviting non-members to the cottage meetings. Okay? All right. What table will go next? Go for it.
We give dinners to the homeless. Dinners to the homeless.
Okay. So fix those and prepare them here and invite them in on site to eat. Okay? So dinners for the homeless.
That could be done too through Supermore. The church could go over to the Supermore program and cook it there.
Supermore is only once a month, right?
Right.
So this could be something in addition, even.
Yeah.
All right, what table will be next? All will be called on.
I think we need some more children's activities and family-based activities.
And are there ideas for these children and family-based activities, or just we need more of those?
More sections, children's youth groups for them to study. More activities like the ice cream social, the fall festival, maybe something more like that. Every week. Well, we were part of a really good church, Phoenix, the CCD, and they would do like water play dates during the summertime where you would get jump play slides, and they would have the firefighter crew come out and shoot off the water hoses and let the kids go on the fire trucks.
All of you are like, I want to do that. I hear it. So, excellent.
So maybe more activities close to church, but not threatening to families who maybe might kind of not want to come to a Christian type of activity.
Which is, I think, a little bit what we're talking about with some of what you mentioned is a little of the vision for our summer VBS replacement.
Right.
So if you're, not having a baby next Sunday, I know a meeting that you could come to. Did you get that, Patty?
Yep.
All right, next table.
Pay more attention to our nursing homes and our shut-ins. Visiting them, women said there's so many people sitting in nursing homes that like to be read to, just like somebody come see them. Or our shut-ins, go on to visit them.
So create more opportunities for shut-ins and homebound folks. I guess shut-ins and homebound are the same. Nursing home, that's the one I was looking for. We're getting to fewer and fewer tables.
We were the same way on.
Sorry to say, they took our.
Okay, so we'll just star that one.
Not only reading to them, but just talking to them.
Reading and talking with folks who are lonely, who happen to also be a little older. I don't know why I'm still doing this. You're not talking anymore. Does this look good? This is going on the internet. Does this look good? All right. Let's see. I think we have 2 tables left.
Ours was kind of the same as that table. Tiffany said more family nights, and maybe like Bible studies and where they might understand more.
And we also talked maybe movie nights and game nights for families, right? So more opportunities for families hosting those at church, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I think that leaves only one table. Yours. Someone.
I think that ours has already been taken. We talked about more meals for the homeless. And we also mentioned possibly any kind of an activity for children to help them from the time they get out of school until their parents could get to them. So, but that was just something that was kind of wild here. We don't know what's being done currently and how it could be done, how we can help with that. That was just Aaron Fink mentioned, oh, that's right, she said there was something like 900 children that need help.
Yes.
In the school system.
Weekend meals and things.
And they don't have a budget. You know more about it, right? Aaron.
I know that you're looking to expand those big weekend bag lunches that they send home to grade school kids to junior high and high school.
Yeah.
They do that at the high school.
They do it?
They've been doing it for the whole time I've been in Macomb. They put a bag in the locker during like 5th or 6th hour so that no one sees it, and then the kids can just take it home with them on the bus on Fridays.
Who does it?
The school.
If that's done at the junior high and high school, what happens to the elementary?
I don't know.
They do the same thing there.
They do it there
Yeah,
too.
they have a program at all the schools.
See, they've got the thing that the school system identifies people who are free and reduced for their meals at school. And so within that, they have a program then that they try to provide for those kids when they go home. So, but there's always a way to participate. There's a way to rethink. There's a way to. We're just dreaming.
They're needing more funding. I guess that funding has been cut for those.
Well, that's probably true within the last year. It probably has been cut with no budget and with state funds being cut to. Yeah, I'm sure that's probably true.
Yeah, we
Maybe-
Disciples Women have been giving to that fund now.
Yes.
Okay, good. Good, you're good.
Maybe to enlighten on that, look at a summer program, a summer meal program.
All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We probably came up with 10 ideas from 7 tables in a matter of about 6 or 7 minutes. Well, some of them were doubled up, right. I just counted the tables. All right, so here's what I want you to know. Mission First from the Christian Church Disciples of Christ in the United States and Canada is going to have active listening conferences all year. This year, they're going to have active listening conferences, disciple women, church camps, all different types of places. I will make sure that you know about that. If you want to know more about Mission First, or if you'd like to be on an email list that reminds you to pray for Mission First, if you'd like to promote some of the ministries that we do as part of First Christian Church Macomb on the website for Mission First, I invite you to go find that. It's at www.disciples.org. If you wanted to Google Christian Church, Disciples of Christ, you would find it there too. Disciples.org. That is our general church's website. And right on the front page, there's going to be something for Mission First. It's the highest priority ministry of the denomination right now. I want us to have mission as a high priority for 2016. I want mission to be part of what we do. For the last couple of years, we focused really well on this building. We needed to. We had to. There were parts of the building that were probably a little unsafe. But the time for looking inward, for now, I think is done. There's still some stuff that we could do in the education wing, and we're going to have to do some things in the education wing even in 2016. But for the most part, our capital projects are done. It's time to live our why, our what, and our how in this community, so that the reign of God, the kingdom of God, the basileia of God can be known, so that we can live our faith in vibrant ways. It's not about attendance. I do believe if we're boldly faithful in this world, people will be drawn to us. But it's about us as individuals and as a church being faithful. So what ministries can we host? What ministries can we offer? It is my hope that we will mirror the denomination and have listening conferences. And from these listening conferences, we will build real, vital ministry from the things that we're passionate about as a church. I really hope that can happen in 2016. I think some exciting things could happen. If we could pour the same amount of energy that we've been pouring into carpet and paint and renovation. I'm excited. I'm excited for us to live our mission, to live our faith, modeling Jesus to our corner of the world. May God bless us and guide us in 2016.
Unlike the State of the Union address, this is not the opposition rebuttal. I promise to be very quick. Kelly asked me just to do a little bit of a summary and some other things. But before we do anything, I would like to say thank you to all of you on behalf of the board of 2015, because Larry's not here tonight, and I'm certain that he would be saying it through me or through others. The people who have been in the leadership roles in our church and on the committees have done an outstanding job, and many of them are doing it again this year. I think, Kelly, we have the right people at the right time in the right place to do God's work. And I want to thank you on behalf of the board for all that you have done. And I want to thank Kelly for all of his leadership and his vision. So will you join with me in thanking him for the work that's been done? Now, having said that, I want you to join me again, but I want to say happy birthday to him because he's going to be, what, 35 tomorrow? For how many times? So would you join me, please? Happy birthday to Kelly.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kelly. Happy birthday to you.
So it was yours tonight, everybody. His day is tomorrow. I just want to say that as the new chair of the First Christian Church Board, I'm looking forward to the challenges. I hope there won't be a lot of them, but to them. And I would ask for your continued support through prayer and activity. And there are so many of you who have given so much of your time and your tithe and your gifts to this church. Don't stop now. We want to make sure that we continue doing these things. And truly, I think that the people who are in this church have an altruistic view of life. And we are willing to help those in our community. I think, given the status of situations in the university, I think we're going to have some challenges coming into this community, and we're going to see an even greater need for the types of things that we have been doing. You know, you don't think of people who come from educational backgrounds as becoming destitute, but we all live a very short distance from poverty if we don't have jobs. And there are going to be about 50 people that aren't going to be having jobs in the not too distant future. And I want us to keep thinking about those people because that's another challenge that we're going to be coming up against. I also want to make a plug for Ellen Tingley's book group. That is something that's going to be new. That's I'm sorry, no, I don't know why. I looked at you. Now you see where the first challenge is going to be. Norma Kidner, I'm so sorry. And I bought the book from her this morning. But Norma has come up with an idea that we haven't done before in the church. And I think it's going to be something that will be good for fun and for fellowship. And we can have food too if we want to, but it isn't centered around food. And you know, we all center a lot of our fellowship around food in this church. But having said all of that, I would like to just acknowledge the fact that we are a group of people who have a common cause, and we have a general faith in the goodness of people in the world. And so I thank Kelly for his review of our year last year and the challenges and the ideas that are coming up for next year. So is there anything that anybody would like to add before I close this in prayer? They want to get out of here and go home and watch Downton Abbey. Will you join me please in prayer? O God of our great beginning in this year, 2016, we ask that you be with us. We appreciate this fellowship of this evening, the ideas that have been expressed, the care and concern that we all have for the people and the place where we live. We ask that you help us carry forward those ideas and make a new beginning in some areas to help those around us. Remember that we are the you in Jesus. We are the hands, the feet, the work. We thank you for that opportunity. We ask you to bless us as we go forward after this evening into the new year, this year, 2016, as we take on the challenges. In Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Is that it?
Yeah.